know, you go in with more self-confidence and everything. So it's like, but that was what I'm realizing, that the more stressed I am, the less confident I am,
True.
and the more mistakes I do, and and the more it's risky that I fail.
True.
And it's like I get those thoughts of like, oh fuck no, I'm gonna fuck this up, and it's like, no, I go for a retake or can't pass this year, whatever, you know.
Does it also lead to physical problems? Do you sleep worse? Does it
Well,
influence?
I mean, this past, there was a lot, also other stuff, but it's like, I got in the first semester I had a lot of migraines. Migraines were a lot. Also, I mean, my caffeine consumption was like huge.
Can imagine.
Can
imagine.
And I mean, also like, of course I train, but I just already decreased the training volume in general, so I accept that. But in general, this kind of, sometimes I have days I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, I don't worry, but on other days I'm like, no, I'm gonna freak out in a second. If you have a chair right there, it's gonna land on that wall, and I have no problems with that. So it's
frustrated.
Yeah.
This specific type of knowledge on actually you're asking, how do you get better in stress, right? Or how do you experience less stress?
Yeah.
Because there are two paths you can choose. You can choose less stress, or you can choose, can I get better with stress? And we tend to go to the side, experience less stress with yoga, mindfulness, meditation, which are all good strategies, but I don't think they are developed to experience less stress, but they are for knowing your body better. That's where meditation and stuff is really for. And it's very interesting because this specific type of information is actually for the different seminar. But I just love sharing knowledge, so I'm good at it.
Sign up next time.
No problem. Yeah, we give this seminar in Berlin next Saturday, so you can just.
Okay.
I give it to you now right away.
Cool.
The thing with stress is when you approach it on how to be good at stress, the rules of the game change, and the physical stress response of your body changes. And it has a very big impact on your long-term health. And that is very important, so you guys are just very lucky that you asked this question. Actually, stress is a two-way street. Yeah? You drive down a road, you can go left or right. Or the approach, stress is bad, we want less stress. Or the approach, maybe stress isn't that bad, what will happen? Yeah. And most of the time, we all drive this road. Yeah. Here, you experience stress, and then you can choose left or right. And we are raised with the knowledge that stress is bad. It releases cortisol, adrenaline, more tension, more headaches, what you say, more frustration. You will perform less with your exams, for example. And your voice in your brain will tell you, you will probably not pass, you will have to do a retake, etc., etc., etc. That's what will happen. Yeah? That's this side. This is the cortisol side. It is actually the old school side. And all the research that is done about stress is here. The research is always done at the spot where you are in the stressful moment. And the research has never been done to the point that how is the perception of stress of that person, which should actually be here. So before you go on that road and before you experience stress, how do you think of stress before you even see it? That's what researchers have never done before. Yeah. And I followed this path back very nearly. Stress was first born in 1936. Yeah. where someone said, all right, we did some tests on some rats and stuff, and they got all complaints, and he said, all right, maybe this is stress, yeah? And they called it stress, and they made the transfer to the human body. And they said, hey, maybe if we're that busy and we have this, and maybe we just have stress, and that's where stress was born. But it's always born, it was born at the negative way. And from 10 years ago, researchers started doing research like, hey, what if we take you, for example, and before you experience stress, we will show you, evidence-based, science-based, that stress can also be very good. Yeah, but like really good. Not just like, oh, sometimes stress helps me get past the deadline. No, just really in the core, in the values you have, good. Yeah. Then, Gesundheit. That's the German thing.
Yes, you.
Easy. Then we go to a different side. Different hormones get active when we show you before you experience stress. Yeah, before the exams, for example. You get different hormones. On this side, you have old school, you have cortisol, yeah, which raise muscle tensions, increase sleep problems, concentration span, etc. When we teach you, hey, stress is actually pretty good, yeah, and there are some ways to do it. I will show you some of them now. You can learn your body to produce more DHEA. That's a hormone which counters some negative effects of cortisol. That's one thing it does. So you feel less worried, stressed, and insecure, actually, because that's what you feel. DHEA is also the hormone that helps your body to learn from stressful periods. Yeah, so if you have an exam each week, or 2 or 3 maybe in a week, that should actually, with more DHEA in your body, that should be a very good learning experience, because every exam you can improve your reaction. But you can only improve that reaction when you have enough DHEA in your body. And if we look at stress in old school way, people produce very low levels of DHEA. Yeah. But if before they experience stress, we teach them, listen, we know that if you look at stress the positive way, and you feel more chest breathing, you feel more muscle tension, you feel your heart pumping more, then your body just helps you getting through this experience better. Yeah, when you can truly learn that to people, that they really understand and really live it, then when they come up to the stressful period, they can now choose, do you want to go left or right? And that's the whole problem so far. You couldn't choose. Stress was always bad. Yeah. Now, you can choose, produce more DHEA, and that fixes almost all the headaches, neck problems that are stress related, all the sleep problems, but also the performances. I've worked with a professional basketball athlete, for example, in not very important games, just during the season. His free throw percentage for a big guy was 82%. That's a good free throw percentage for his position center. In important basketball games, that percentage dropped to 33%. And I just asked him, like, why is that? He was like, oh, it's an important game, a lot of people are looking, I just feel so tense and I just can't shoot anymore. And just by learning him this model, yeah, and we spent 1.5 hours together, nothing in between that. Last season, in important games, he scored 65% of his free throws. And before, all of the seasons before, yeah, from a younger player to an adult, his free throws were like 30% each. Yeah. And he said, I just feel more in control. I just feel more capable. And that's also what you can experience with exams, for example. Yeah. And this is what they call the growth index. The growth index is, do you produce more cortisol or more DHEA in times of stress? Navy SEALs use this, for example. Yeah? One of the Navy SEAL tests, they have a lot of stress, yeah? And when they have an intake, yeah, they experience during that intake of several weeks and testing and stuff like that, they make a lot of experiences when they experience stress. And they measure the balance between cortisol and DHEA. And when someone scores high in DHEA, he is a natural positive stress coper. He copes with stress positively. And the chance that they make the right decisions is way higher. And that's how they select also people in their teams. Yeah. And it is actually a shame that we in our busy culture, our busy life, we don't know this trick.
So is it just a mental trick of this is going to be good for me?
Actually it is, and it's not the same as the placebo effect, because that's what comes first to mind. I should be placebo. It's not. It is a mindset effect. Yeah? You guys all here have a mindset. Yeah? And you all think of some things away. Yeah? And we share enough mindset together that we can be in this room and that you guys can listen to me. If I, for example, was a terrorist, and you should know, yeah, because I have a beard, then we don't share the same mindset, and we probably cannot be in this room together. Yeah. And everyone here has had a discussion with a friend, or watched a documentary or read a book, where they changed a bit of his mindset, right? You had you thought of terrorist this way, and then you watched a documentary, and then you switched a little bit of your mindset. Yeah? And stress is actually the same thing. It's a mindset effect. Yeah? When you are raised thinking of stress a certain type of way, you will react to it, you will experience it, and you also see it in the media. Yeah? The media will use stress as a mechanism also. Yeah? And you will read all kinds of stuff. PTSD and stress and this and stress and pregnancy and stress and stuff like that. The thing is that if you change the way you look at it, you change your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you change your outcome. For example, the thing with PTSD, it's a big thing. After a traumatic experience, you can have it in the army, you could also have it in a car accident. There was a very nice study done. They followed 56 people who survived a traumatic car crash in America. And they did their best to get the levels of cortisol out of their urine. So they made a test, and that way they could predict if those people develop PTSD. And they thought that the higher levels of cortisol there was, the more people would get PTSD. Out of that 56 people, 9 people developed PTSD symptoms. And those were the 9 people with significantly, I don't have the study here, but I can email it to you, significantly had the lowest levels of cortisol in their body. Yeah. So that's also the researchers actually said in that research, you need a good stressful situation for your body to recover. And if for a car crash and you didn't produce enough cortisol, though cortisol will help you. Yeah? If you didn't produce enough cortisol, you didn't experience stress well enough, and you cannot recover from it properly. And if information like that, if we were possible to spread that in the media, we could create a different stress mindset, and we could help to change the mindset here, yeah, before we experience stress there. Because now when people are stressed, they just look in the media, oh, stress is so bad, I read this blog and I'm so stressed, and I read it and I even got more stress. Yeah? Fuck. But it's all based on here. And here you can only go left. Yeah? But if you just get out of the situation and you can learn that stress is actually good, and then you will approach stress and you can choose. Yeah? And every time you can choose, it's always a better situation. Yeah? You can eat healthy or not. You can go to bed on time or not. With stress, it was actually never a decision. Stress is always bad. You should just stay out of stress. Yeah? Just keep out. But we can't, because you have work, you have study, you have exams, you have stress. You need stress. But if we don't raise people with that kind of stress, then we get bad at stress. Yeah? And this is actually, for a lot of people, the only intervention you need to change the mindset. It will not, the first time you will counter an exam, it will not be the best experience. Yeah? But every exam you take, it will get better, better and better. And if you feel stressed, you feel rushed, you feel more tension, you sleep worse, think of this path, think of this thing, and you will learn your body to change growth index. You will automatically notice that next year, at the end of the year, you will look back and you're like, oh, all the exams I've had, I'm way better now. And that is one, because you taught your body, and because you taught your body to cope with it, you produce more DHEA. Yeah. And that is very, very well science-based actually, but it's not well known enough. People don't know it exists. Also because you can make a lot of money out of stress. Stress pills, way to sleep better, stress management programs, stuff like that. Yeah. But they did like research in a very big company in 2009 in America, where they had a big crash financially. There was a company of like 1,500 people, and they lost like half of their staff during that economic crash. Yeah. And the people